Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis Zen. I'm here with
Josh Rivers from South
yes,
Africa.
South Africa, another intercontinental episode here, international episode here with me here in America, in Los Angeles. How are you doing, Josh?
I am doing good. I am excited to be moving into a new apartment with a new internet connection. Uh, if anybody's been watching these podcasts, I'm sure you've seen that my the connection to my quality is not that good right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm switching to a 100 meg line, which is great because I want to start live streaming permanently. So I'll have a 20 megabyte upload speed. So I'm looking forward to having the upload speed starting probably end of next week sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But so the next podcast I'll have proper internet, which is fantastic news. I'm doing all right. Not much is really. There's not much going on out here in South Africa. There's a lot more going on in America at the moment. Um, People are kind of slowly easing back into normal life here, even though our cases are actually going up. I think it's more or less like that's happening across the world. People are starting to care less about it, I think. And someone was saying that we in South Africa we actually got into lockdown too early because everyone took the lockdown very seriously in the beginning, and now they're not taking it serious. And now is when they should have actually started the lockdown because we're getting more cases and stuff.
Well,
But I mean, I'm good.
unfortunately, in America, we reopened a bunch of places, including Los Angeles and California, which is surprising given the political climate here in California. Opened too early, and our cases are skyrocketing. So now it's weird because it's like you had all these people in lockdown, and then they started to ease stuff up, and then it was one of those cases where it was, you give an inch, they take a mile. So like they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we ease up these restrictions, and then people just completely disregarded them.
Yep.
And
No
now
one's wearing their masks anymore or
no,
any of that stuff. I've noticed.
no,
Yeah.
like I'd say 8 out of 10 people on the street aren't wearing masks. I mean, they have to wear it when you go shopping. Like when I go to places inside, they're all wearing them because they have to. But
Yeah.
when it's like
Otherwise, they
out in
can't get in.
public, no, it's like 8 out of 10 are
Yeah.
not. I mean, so yeah, they're kind of put mask back under mandatory. It's not like a full lockdown again, but still, it's a lot of stuff closed, like restaurants and gyms, which I never understood the gym thing. That's like the place you're going to catch it the most. People are like
Exactly.
breathing
Like, why
heavily.
open that up? Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole point is like you're trying to stop stuff from coming out of your nose and mouth and all that stuff. So, anyways, but
Do you guys have them? I don't know if you guys have them in LA, but at the grocery stores and wherever you go shopping, do the people who work in retail and the grocery stores and all those places, do they wear these visors? Have you seen these visors? They're like the most useless thing ever.
I've seen a few, but mostly it's just masks. I mean, because the
Okay,
visor
that's
thing is
because you
just
should, yeah. The visor thing is good for yourself, but you should wear a visor and a mask. Out here, everyone like at the grocery stores, all the people working there, they wear the visors because we couldn't get any masks in the country. Like when by the time South Africa started looking for masks, everyone already started buying all the masks up. So everyone's making their own masks, but people are wearing these visors. And at first, when you look at the visors, you're like, wow, that's actually great. It looks like great protection until you realize if you sneeze, it's just going to go down and then out. You know what I mean? Because it just literally covers your face, and then it's this whole empty gap over here. It makes no sense to me.
So all right, let's head into some gaming news. Big gaming news. Well, gaming TV news.
Let me segue real quick with a very small gaming news that I think you might enjoy because it's political gaming news, which we never really cover. Apparently, people have been hacking Roblox accounts, Dennis, to get people to vote for Trump. Now, if you're playing Roblox, chances are you're not old enough to vote. So why are people hacking Roblox accounts and spamming vote for Trump? Like,
I have no. I think either
it makes no sense. It's got to be some kind of troll or something.
Yeah, it sounds more like a prank or something like that. It sounds like a big waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not, any form of campaign from Trump because he's
No.
crazy, but not that crazy, you know. But
Um,
man, yeah, what a waste of time. Anyways, great
yeah.
news to talk about right now,
Yes.
Dennis.
The gaming slash television news, and it's something I've been talking about for a long time. If anyone's who's
Mm-hmm.
watched any of my stuff on Think Hero or Collider or whatever, I always talk about Fallout needing to be a TV series, and instead of a movie, because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Fallout should be a movie. I always said a television show just because of the way the game is. It's a long journey with a lot of different paths and a huge history and lore, and you can't really do that in a movie.
Yeah. A
Uh,
movie would only work if it was a trilogy, and they
Trilogy
announced the
and like
trilogy from the
3 hours
get-go.
each too.
Yeah, yeah, like 2.5 hours minimum per movie kind of thing. I agree. Series is a good idea. It's gonna do well, especially because of the people doing it. Like I have high hopes. You know what I mean? They know how to capture a certain zeitgeist. Like the spirit of the time. You know what I mean? Like when they did Westworld, they did a good job of capturing that era. So it's gonna be because Fallout is kind of set in this non-existent era of like it's the 60s, 50s, but it's like the nuclear era, but they're like they're using nuclear technology instead. So it's nice. Like I think they'll be able to capture that zeitgeist. The real question, Dennis, is in the 600 years that all the Fallout games are set in, they have so much freedom of choice as to where are they going to set this. Are they going to do the classic, like, I think a good idea for them would be to do the whole Fallout 4 thing where it's like, hey, this is what life was like right before the explosion, and then you wake up 100 years later or whatever. I think that would be a good route for them to go. Or maybe they'll just say, screw that. We'll just everybody watching the Fallout series has probably played a Fallout game. We'll just start you off in the thick of it. You know what I mean? But I don't know what era they're going to choose. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't heard, Fallout was announced a couple of days ago that it was going to be with Amazon Studios, and the Westworld creators Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy were going to be the producers. And then, of course, with the teaser, it was the standard. It's nothing really. It's the standard Fallout.
It's
Please
just the
stand by.
logos,
Test
Yeah.
TV test screen stuff. So you're not seeing any footage or test concept images or anything like that. It's just like to let you know, hey, this is coming out on Amazon. Now, yes, I think the biggest question is what era are they going to go with and what
Yeah.
location? If it was up to me,
Yes,
my
location.
my personal favorite is Fallout 3 and in Washington D.C. Um, you know, with Boston, also Las Vegas, which is cool.
Yeah.
They're both cool areas, but some of the iconic landmarks that would hit heaviest, I think, in a television series is in whether Washington D.C. has some of the most iconic landmarks in the country. New York is one as well. Los Angeles is, except the only problem with Los Angeles is so spread out. And I know previous Fallout game, I think was it 1 or 2, was set in Los Angeles, and so yeah, you could do Los Angeles, but it's so spread out. It fits more for a game like I mentioned I started playing recently. It was GTA 5, like where you have a
Yeah.
car and you're driving around versus walking around. Yeah, so location and time period, how closely they're going to follow the lore of Fallout. My biggest concern, and I mentioned this in a tweet that I posted, was are they going to keep the same dark humor from the game? Because you could easily just go into the drama, the darkness of being in a post-apocalyptic world, but not touching on I mean, that's part of one of the reasons I love Fallout is there's like a
That's
dark
part of
sense
its
of
charm,
humor.
yeah.
Is this dark
And it's
sense of
also
humor?
like I'm actually genuinely worried about that as well because look, I know Todd Howard is also involved in the making of the show itself, which speaking of, they showed Bethesda Game Studios as part of the teaser trailer, and I was so surprised to not see like Bethesda production offices or Bethesda TV studios, or they're like, yo, we're gonna dip our feet in this hard. So well, I think that because they have Todd Howard there, even though I haven't been a fan of Bethesda lately, I'm a fan of Todd Howard. I think he's gonna. It's weird because I think that there's obviously a high chance of them putting the dark humor and dark comedy in there, but there's also like that chance of them just completely forgetting about it. What I don't think they will forget is the weirdness. I definitely think there's going to be a lot of weird, because like Fallout is known for obviously the dark humor and also like the drama side, the darkness of like post-apocalyptic life, but then also like there's some serious weirdness about post-apocalyptic life, you know. And I think that they'll definitely touch on that too. Like we're definitely going to see some weird balls out there, you know what I mean? Like some mentally damaged people or robots or whatever we're gonna get.
Well, that's what I want to see.
I think
I want to see that weirdness. I want to see the weird creatures that talk, that have
there are
human
so
like,
many like good characters.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters, I completely forgot which Fallout it was from, but it was an infected who didn't know he was infected yet, and he just wasn't coming to terms with it. He's like, "No, I'm a human. I'm not a zombie. What you talking about?"
Yeah.
And he was like in denial, and it was the funniest character, man.
Yeah, there's just so many great like characters and little side quests and plots, and obviously a lot of those little smaller quests or plots are not going to, be the main focus of the storyline. I think with Fallout 3, you have this storyline where, okay, you can focus on this guy that was born in Vault 101 and him, his father leaving the vault and him trying to find his father at the same time, knowing that his father was trying to build something to basically help and save the world, So that one's a lot easier to follow. I know in Fallout 4, it was your wife and your child. I think the wife was killed and the child was stolen or taken away and trying to find.
The wife died like right in the beginning, and then you had to go find your kid.
Yeah, so you have that storyline. Fallout 76 is all over the place.
That's kind of its own thing, yeah.
Yeah, and like New Vegas, you're trying to get revenge because you were shot. You were a courier and you were shot and left for dead. But that I think with Vegas,
personally, that's the one that I would most want to see. Personally, if they were gonna, yeah, New Vegas. If they were gonna work off of like an existing game or an existing game world or era, I would personally prefer. Like, I mean, that's just me personally. I want to see that New Vegas world. I think they could really pull it off. Also, like if they're filming on the West Coast, super easy. You know what I mean? What I think is more likely is that they're going to end up choosing a location and era that has never been done before. That way you don't have any risks of upsetting fanboys, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Or like there's less chances of upsetting people if you choose your own era, your own location that's never been done before. What I also think is a very high possibility is them doing Fallout 1. Why not start, if you're going to do a Fallout show, why not start at the beginning in terms of the game series,
Yeah, I don't think they're doing Fallout 1 just because, remember, Bethesda now owns the rights to Fallout, and they started with Fallout 3. So
that's true,
it's not even a legal thing. I think it's just we're Bethesda.
That's a licensing thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, the first game took place in Southern California.
Yeah.
The third game, Washington, D.C., Boston, the fourth, Fallout 76 is West Virginia. So I think it's either going to be, or maybe I'm just hoping too much, it's going to be Washington, D.C., and they follow the storyline of Fallout 3, or like you said, a brand new place. Where would you want to see? If it's brand new, where do you want to see?
If it's brand new, I was literally just thinking that. And it's what I would want to see is, have they done Colorado before?
I don't think so.
Or I would love to see like a certain, like I don't really know Colorado that well because I've never been there before. I'm not an American. Of the 7 years I lived in America was all on the West Coast in LA. I've only been to LA, New York, and other parts of California. But every time I see photos of Denver, it looks beautiful. It seems like there'd be some great settings out there, So I think that could work. Also, like, why not Texas, man? Honestly, Fallout in Texas would be wild. Like, like an Austin having Fallout happen in Austin. I feel like that would be wild. You know?
See, I'm the opposite of you. Like with Vegas, one of the things, even though I really like the game New Vegas, one of the things that did bother me was that because Vegas is already a desert, so a lot of the stuff when you're wandering around just feels like you're walking around regular Las
Desert,
Vegas.
yeah.
And also in the storyline, the bombs didn't really hit Las Vegas, and so a lot of stuff is intact or brand new, like new casinos or whatever. And then so something like Colorado, while a beautiful place, is also a lot of mountains and nature. What I want to see is an urban area. I would say my number one choice,
I think New York would be
New
fun. It would just
York
be
or
difficult to film, you know?
yeah, or San Francisco. I think would be
Ooh,
yeah,
San Francisco would be sick, actually, now that I think about
yeah.
it. Oh,
So
hell
those are
yeah. Because
my
especially
two.
because you got that whole Bay Area, dude,
Yeah,
with the Golden Gate Bridge. Yes. Oh, that would be a great location, man, honestly.
yeah.
Cause dude, you got Alcatraz, bro.
Yes,
Hell yeah. That's a great
Alcatraz.
location.
Golden Gate Bridge. You have
Mm-hmm.
Golden Gate Park. You have
And
a
it's
lot of.
a lot of hills, you know what I mean, which is great.
Mhm. So those would be my first two choices. Yeah, if you guys, whoever's listening or watching this, let us know what location you think the television series should be set in, and also, what storyline should they follow, or if they should create a new one. So yeah, this
Well,
is
because there are factions in Fallout that like throughout the entire game there have been certain factions, and it's like, are we going to see someone who's a part of a faction or is not part of one of these existing factions? Are we going to see the birth of one of these factions?
Mhm.
Like, they have so much to work with, which is what is so exciting about this. And just because, like, if it's anything like I didn't really. I fell off Westworld towards the end because
Mhm.
personally because of the writing, but the show itself is shot fantastically. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I have high hopes. Just based off of that, I have high hopes.
Yeah, I got through the first season, which for me it was like starts off very slow, but it picks up towards the end, and I enjoyed it. And then the second season I started, but I haven't finished yet, so I need to finish second season and third season. But this statement that I just read actually alleviates some of my concerns about the humor, because it says um, they both Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan released this statement. Fallout is one of the greatest game series of all time. Each chapter of this insanely imaginative story has cost us countless hours we could have spent with family and friends. So we're incredibly excited to partner with Todd Howard and the rest of the brilliant lunatics at Bethesda to bring this massive, subversive, and darkly funny universe to life with Amazon Studios.
Okay,
So they seem to
they're
be able
aware
to
of how
get
dark humor it
one. It
is.
sounds like they're fans and they've played the game, so they know it. And then two, they understand that part of its charm is kind of the dark humor, along with kind of the drama and action that is in Fallout. So it seems like they get it. Now, if they can execute on that, that would be fantastic. Um, I don't know. I don't think they have like any time. This is probably ways
Yeah,
off. You know what I mean, this is
yeah,
probably
they
like
haven't announced it for a while. I tell you what, though, this has probably been in the works for a long time, at least in terms of licensing issues and signing
yes.
contracts and things like that. They probably, I guarantee, because I know we actually covered it, like, I think at the end of last year, that there were rumors about this, specifically about the Westworld creators as well, or the people who
Mhm.
did Westworld, because they're already, I believe that they were already friends in real life with Todd Howard, or like they
Yeah.
knew each other, like there was some kind of personal connection that they had, which is why they were able to do this. We covered it a while ago, and we were like, "Hey, maybe it'll happen." And now here we are, and the
Yeah.
two people who were rumored are now talking to each other about doing it. So,
Yeah, I think
I guess the rumors we covered were right.
yeah, I think a lot of people were speculating HBO because of Nolan and
Yeah,
Joy doing Westworld on HBO,
because
and
of
think, okay, what
Westworld. Yeah.
Fallout on Fallout on Amazon Studios, cool. Like I already have it, so and I'm already subscribed to it. But this is definitely would be a highlight, of the entire streaming service. For me, obviously, they have the Lord of the Rings TV series coming as well. But I mean,
soon, yeah.
that
One day we're gonna get the Final Fantasy series as well from them, apparently.
Yeah.
I
So
think that was Amazon as well. Yeah.
yeah, I don't expect this Amazon series to come out. I would say, like,
Yeah.
especially with now the pandemic.
I think we'll get a trailer next year. I think we'll
Next year.
we'll get like a proper trailer in the beginning. Like maybe if we're lucky, the end of this year we'll see like a teaser trailer where they haven't like without any characters. You know what I mean? Just like some like what's like the type of shot I'm looking for. I forget what it's called. The not the exposure shot, the shot that sets the scene before you go and do the scene. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's going to be a bunch of those, but we'll see. We'll definitely hear more about this in the future, which is good news for sure.
Yeah.
You're gonna see the Lord of the Rings show first because they.
Yes.
I don't know if they're finished filming, but I know that they started filming before lockdown, so you'll definitely see that first.
I think Fallout is 2022 at this point. I think they probably were shooting for 2021
hands down,
before the pandemic.
Now,
they're like, okay, we could get it by 2021, but now with the pandemic, it's going to push it back further. So 2022.
I think 2022. I think that's very possible if they do like a really good 10 episode, hour-long episode kind of series. You know what I mean? I think that they could really hit the nail on the head there with that.
Yeah. So everyone, let us know your thoughts about this news. You know, some other Fallout minor news. They had the summer updates trailer that kind of shows, and also like they're very pushing this. Like this. Okay, this is free. This is free. That's
it's
why
also on sale right now. By the way, for anybody watching,
it's
well, the game is on sale itself on Steam right now. It's on the Steam summer sale.
Well, it's also coming soon. What day is it? July 3rd. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass.
Hell yeah!
July 9th.
That's great news.
If you have Game Pass, which remember Game Pass is also for PC as well. So if you have Game Pass and you have the PC version or the Xbox version, you can get it for free. Essentially for free. You're paying for your whatever. But like I said, Game Pass is such a great deal. The only reason I don't have it is because I don't have the time to take advantage of it. I mean, I have so many games I have to, like we'll get into this later, but I'm finishing up Last of Us Part 2, and then I got to go into Ghost of Tsushima, which we're going to cover on the Games channel and on the Collider website. So that was the other piece of news. So Fallout 76 going to be on Xbox Game Pass, and then also the summer updates trailer, which is they're trying to do like seasons, kind of like Fortnite and whatnot. They're trying to just kind of save the base.
I like the idea. Well, I mean, they want to make it like games as a service. They want to give it more longevity with that. Because I don't think that like funny enough, I think most people's first impression of this is another money grab by Bethesda. But I don't think it's got anything to do with money, because it's just like they just need to bring something fresh to the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. And I think it's a good idea. Like especially if they can constantly give us new seasons of like interesting things that would make us want to play the game, like honestly, like silly things, like if they could add like just the weirdest cosmetics to Fallout 76, I would love that. You know what I mean? Like if you're building your base and you know what, if you for $2 you can have a disco ball in your base, I'll do it. Give it to me. Give me the disco ball. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird example, but I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Especially as long as it doesn't change gameplay and affect gameplay, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no buying for advantage cosmetics. As long as it's not like basic cosmetics, then I'm fine with them charging.
And for the most part, from what I could see, everything looked pretty interesting, Yeah. In terms of the content.
Yeah, they're trying to, build up, their public relations after the fiasco of the launch and with Fallout first, and try to keep this going because they're, they invested a lot of money and time into it.
It seems like they stream. I think they also look. This is also just good because it gives people more incentive and motivation to play the game. Not because it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's got to be some kind of mental thing. Because Dennis, do you want to know why to this day I still play a lot of Fortnite? Because there are challenges. There are weekly challenges to do, and it's like I don't have to do them, but when I finish them, I feel good. I don't know. It's got to be some kind of mental thing. I get the battle pass because it feels nice to have a point to the game, because I mean, obviously the point of the game is to win, but it's nice to have that extra things of like, oh, you know what, maybe I didn't win this round, but that's okay because I finished my challenges, you know. it's it's just one of those things where it gets people to play more, I think, you know, and it works 100%. It works on me, so it's got to work on other people.
So another thing we were going to discuss is just kind of, we don't want to go too depth into this, but there's a lot of movies and television series based on video games coming out soon. You know, this is, like I always say, and people, you can quote me on it because I've said it many, many times before. And, you know, 5-10 years from now, when there's a bunch of awesome video game movies and television series, people will forget I said this, but I've said it for like many, many years now. Video game movies and television series are just like how comic book movies were before, where comic book movies didn't have the money or the talent or the resources, whatever. People hadn't figured out the puzzle yet. People are going to figure out the video game puzzle. Don't worry. Some people think inherently video game movies or television shows are going to be bad. That's not true. All it is it's talent and resources.
It's trial and error as well,
yes,
you know.
It will be figured out.
I almost think of it, this is a comparative that some people might not like, but in terms of success and box office numbers, I could be wrong on this, but Sonic the Hedgehog for video game movies is kind of like Spider-Man for...
It's a success.
It's a success. It's kind of like when the first Spider-Man came out and it just did incredibly well. You know what I mean? Like, and that that was the game changer. I think from this point onwards, because of Sonic, we're gonna see success. We're gonna see people doing more successful. We're still gonna have a lot of shitty ones. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna see a lot more. We're gonna see a lot more successful ones.
Look at one right now that looks like it's gonna be crappy. Monster Hunter.
Oh man, I mean, well, we can skip the first one obviously because everyone's already seen it. Sonic, it's great. It's getting a sequel. I'm excited for the sequel. Jim Carrey did great. But yeah, Monster Hunter. I remember when they first announced this, and there was so much hate, Dennis, because all the leaked images were images of military, like people, like maybe they were. It doesn't matter who they were. They could have been non-military people, but it was people with guns, and it's like there's no guns in Monster Hunter. But then it's like so that's why after a while they actually showed us images of I forget the actor's name, Tony Jaa. They show us pictures of him and like Tony Jaa. Sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong or not. We're butchering it. Yeah, he's great though. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. So the whole reason they showed his outfit was so they could be like, look, there are actual monster hunters. Yes, there are still giant swords. Don't worry. So apparently the whole plot is that military from Earth somehow was transported into the world of Monster Hunter. So that's like the plot line. All I know is it's either going to be trash or moderately okay, in my opinion. It's either going to be okay or trash.
But
yeah,
like I'm not saying the movie 100% is going to be, just doesn't look good to me.
I mean, all the footage all the stuff we've seen is behind the scenes, so who knows? You know, take it with a grain of salt. I don't like what any of the stuff looks like that I'm seeing, but I don't know what it's going to look like after post. You know what I mean? Yeah. But based off of the practical effects that I can see, I don't know. It's oof.
Yeah. Oof. You have, we'll leave it at Michael B. Jordan starring as John Clark in 2 Rainbow Six Siege movies, Without Remorse.
It's going to be very successful.
Rainbow Six, yeah. So you have a heavy hitter like Michael B. Jordan involved with this. Still doesn't mean it's going to be good. I mean, we've seen plenty of, big stars in video game movies that weren't good.
I think it'll make a lot of money. I think it'll make a lot of money regardless of if it's good or not, because not just because of Michael B. Jordan, but because Tom Clancy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anybody who's read a Tom Clancy book or played a Tom Clancy game will want to see this, you know?
Yeah. Also, it's borderline because really it's based on a book, based on a video game. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of not, and it's also the military thing. So it's less. I mean, it's a
spec ops movie. It's more of a spec ops movie than a video game. It's more of a war movie than a video game movie. But I think that's going to be great. And then moving on, we've got Uncharted,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got Uncharted, which is supposed to come out at the end of this year, but that's probably not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
They haven't announced.
Had so many directors and actors.
But apparently Tom Holland went back to filming it a couple. I remember a couple weeks ago he announced he's like, yeah, I was on set the other day, or like he was on set with Mark, and then they had to like stop because of the quarantine. But they're gonna go back to finish that movie soon. He's obviously because people keep asking about Spider-Man and stuff like that. He's like, well, I can't do anything until I finish Uncharted. Essentially, you know what I mean? He's like, contractually speaking, I have to finish Uncharted. Whether it's going to be good or not, because I mean, a lot of people are like worried because according to what we're reading here, it's lost 6 directors, but that was since 2009. You know what I mean? I mean, Akira, the script for Akira has been floating around Hollywood since 2003, and you can like trace that on IMDb how many people have bought that script and sold it. Like that script keeps moving and changing directors and cast like this. Like, so it could have just been the same thing like that. I love Tom Holland, and I think that. I think, wow, Marky Mark, I forgot his name for a second. Marky Mark and the Funky Punch. I think he could
Mark
do a good
Wahlberg.
Sully, you know? Mark Wahlberg, yeah.
Well,
Good
Wahlberg.
old Wahlberg. I think
He
he
was
would do a
supposed
good
to
Sully
play
for sure.
Nathan Drake before in one iteration when why am I blanking on his name? David O. Russell was going to direct the movie.
I think they then realized for longevity it would be good to do the young Nathan Drake slowly growing up, you know what I mean? Also, like the whole Sully teaching Nathan Drake thing is, for me, that was like a good like part of the heart of the story, you know? Like having like this mentorship kind of thing. So I'm just excited to see more. It also gives them like more playroom, more wiggle room with the script. You know what I mean? If they have a young Nathan Drake, because we only really see young Nathan Drake. We see them in the video games a few times, but they're usually like flashbacks and stuff, or like not full gameplay sections. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for it for sure. Whether it comes out in December of this year, I highly doubt. It doesn't look like it's going to come out in December this year.
Definitely. We don't even know if we're having movies by December.
So, I mean, last time Tom Holland spoke about it, he said that they've been having a good time on set. You know, he's been working hard. I've noticed he has like almost like a buzz cut kind of thing. So it seems like they're going to be revamping his look, if you will. And I guess the same with Sully, because I think Mark Wahlberg would be a good Sully, but he doesn't look anything like the guy. You know what I mean? At all.
No. Doesn't even give out. He doesn't give out the vibe.
Doesn't even give out the vibe. Yeah. So they're probably they're gonna take a lot of liberties. You can tell just from the casting they're gonna take a lot of liberties. I think it'll be a good movie. Is it gonna be a good Uncharted movie? I don't know, but I think it's gonna be a good movie or fun at least.
Then we have the Mortal Kombat reboot. You know, we've already had 2 movies. One was successful. One was not. Well, I didn't like the second one, but the first one I think is a lot of fun. I think it's. Yeah.
The first one is one of my favorite like rewatchable movies. It's one of those movies
cheesy,
that you can
but like
rewatch for sure.
Yeah.
It's very fun, yeah.
Tomb Raider 2, the first one, not the Angelina Jolie, but the Alicia Vikander one.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. Like I didn't hate it like other people. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but I thought it was decent enough. And it, if I remember it, like internationally did okay. Like well enough they made some money, so they're making a second one. I mean, that's the whole point. Like whether critics like it or not, if something makes money, they're gonna make another one. So that's something also in the pipeline. Minecraft, the movie, to me, like this can't be live action, right? This has got to be animated, right? This has got to be animated, right? I mean, there's no way.
100%. They're like it's gonna be like Angry Birds kind of. Like, it's gonna be 100%. It's gonna be like it's not gonna be Minecraft animated, but it's gonna be like animated to like. I highly doubt that you watched or played Minecraft, the Minecraft video game by Telltale Games, that kind of style. I think it's gonna look in that style, but much more polished. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, honestly, if they made Minecraft, like if they made a live action Minecraft movie, the only way they could pull it off is if they made it like really dark. Like you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. You're naked. You're punching trees. Nothing makes sense, you know? No, it's got to be animated. The plot, though, I mean, look, now that Minecraft technically does have an end, if you will, that's actually the area. It's called the end, and you kill the Ender Dragon, and that's more or less the end of the game. So it's gonna have to do with defeating the Ender Dragon, you know. But I'm curious as to how they're gonna set it up, because there's no setup to Minecraft. In Minecraft, it's just you wait, you're there, you're somewhere surrounded by nothingness. You have just a shirt and pants on, nothing else, and you're punching trees. And then slowly, eventually, you got to go defeat the Ender Dragon. So there's an ending, but there's no real beginning. So it's going to be nice to see, like they'll base it off of Steve, which is the main person that you are in Minecraft. It's the main skin. They'll base it off of Steve's adventure, I'm assuming, but it's like there's no origin story for Steve. I would love to see Herobrine. Have you ever heard of Herobrine?
No.
I've got a quick story to tell you about this. I love this. So back before, when Minecraft was still very much an indie game developed by Notch, and when it was just literally made by one person and one person only working on it, he actually left AI coding in the game files for a character without telling anybody and it was called Herobrine, and he looked exactly like a normal Minecraft character, but his eyes would be white, and he would it was like small AI stuff, like he would dig tunnels and he would build things on his own, and it would scare the bejesus out of you if you ever came across it. It would be such a but like the chances of spotting him or finding him were so rare that people thought it was a myth until people said, no, look, he's in the actual game files. I came across it once, Dennis, and I couldn't sleep. I was so like paranoid. So I hope that they add Herobrine in just as like a villain / Easter egg. That'd be great. They took him out eventually. But yeah, I love that little thing that they put in there.
There's a bunch more. I don't want to go through every single one, so I'm just gonna read off the.
To make sense to me, that makes sense. I liked Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I did not. Oh, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good. Once again, I don't think it was a good Assassin's Creed movie, but it was a nice movie. I think that they did a better job with the parkour and the actual shots with Assassin's Creed Legacy, which was like a web series, and they actually filmed in the historical areas with proper with good stunts, and that looked better for sure.
Yeah. They're doing a Cyberpunk animated movie. They're doing Borderlands, Call of Duty, Carmen Sandiego, Centipede, Contra, The Division,
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, Fallout. We just talked about Fatal Frame, Firewatch,
Five Nights at Freddy's would actually
Fruit Ninja,
genuine horrifying. A Fruit Ninja movie,
live action family kind. Gears of War.
Gears of War. That's
Half-Life.
Yeah.
Half-Life's amazing. So
Heavy Rain technically is a movie. As if you've ever played Heavy Rain, it's a great game, but it's essentially a movie you're playing. Yeah. So. I don't know how they do that. I would rather just play the game.
Yeah, Halo. We have Showtime series. That one's already. A lot of these that we're talking about were just mentioned. So, dude, with television series and movies, they don't all happen. Actually, a good amount of them end up failing or whatever.
There is something I wanted to tell you because you love VR and we cover a lot of VR news here. But in Japan, they're releasing a VR Mega Man experience. It has a different name. I think it's called Rocket Man or something. But they're doing a VR Mega Man experience in Japan that you can go check out if you live in Japan. I think it's launching in a week from now. And it looks really fun.
I think that's isn't that his Japanese name before it came here and became Mega Man? I think it was Rocket Man or whatever.
Probably.
Which makes sense because he shoots rockets from his arm.
Yeah. Detective Pikachu 2. Interesting.
Yeah.
Look,
money, not a lot. Save me some money.
I don't think that they'll do a Detective Pikachu 2. I think they'll make another Pokemon movie, but not a Detective Pikachu 2. I mean, the way the movie ended, there's no sequel lined up, unless they're just all of a sudden there's another talking Pikachu bonding with another. It's just that would not work. Portal would be a great thing. You know what I mean? People have been talking about it for a while, though. I would love Portal as a great storyline. Roller Coaster Tycoon. Who the hell is gonna make a roller coaster tycoon movie?
Like I said, a lot of these are not going to be made.
10 years ago.
A lot of these are not going to be made.
Let's talk about something that is for sure apparently now going to happen according to I think the Hollywood Reporter, which is the people who made the guys who did John Wick, the writer of John Wick. He's turning My Friend Pedro into a television series, which if you don't know My Friend Pedro, great game. I've never played it on console. It makes sense to me to play it on Twitch. On PC, because you have to kind of control two guns at once in this 2D type of game setting.
Yeah, I played it
let's,
before. I think
I
at
really
E3.
enjoy it, but it's literally about some guy who gets convinced by a talking banana to become a mass murderer. So it's gonna be an interesting.
Yeah, it's
Like I can see why the John Wick writer, first of all, because of like the amount of action and bullets in it, he's gonna like that's why he wants to do it. But also like what a bizarre take for a character, you know? There's a talking banana, and and he wants you to murder everyone. It's, makes
yeah.
me kind of makes me think of the show Happy.
Also, we talked about this before, the Last of Us TV series on HBO that's coming out. That one's actually in the, you know what I mean? There's certain, like I said, a lot of these have been mentioned and talked about, but a lot of them will not actually happen, like this entire list is like
I see we're getting
30,
a Super Mario
40,
movie.
30 or 40 of these. Probably probably in the
2022.
teens will happen. Yeah.
Do you remember that old Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's all I can think of when I see that they're gonna make a Super Mario movie. They'll make sure not to do it live action. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
All right, let's move on to the next topic here. We've got this one's an interesting one because
Yeah.
NBA 2K21. Uh, First of all, they're going to have a Kobe Bryant cover, not for the main one, but there's a Mamba Forever version. It's coming to the current consoles, Xbox One and PS4, but it's also coming to the next gen consoles. Now, the big deal that people are up in arms about is that the PS5 version and the Xbox Series X version are going to be $10 more expensive. So $69.99. Now I know we're used to, digital collector's editions and blah blah blah. But with those, you always have the option to buy the $59.99 version. I'm
Now to be just to check in here, this isn't a remaster or anything. This is they're
no no
giving
no
you a
no
9-year-old game for $69.
no. This is 2K21. 2K21.
Oh, 2K20. I have and there's a typo here. In the
Yeah,
email
that's my
you said
fault.
2K
Yeah, yeah. No,
2K11. I was
sorry.
like, what?
Yeah,
2K11?
2K21. 2K21, the new game. It's but
Okay.
you're paying more for the more current the next gen consoles, which
Hmm.
lends people to think, well, are they going to raise the
Why?
price for future games in general? Like, are all next gen console games going to be $69.99? I come from an era where it was, you know, back in the day, all games were like $50 was kind of like the standard price. And
Hmm.
then it changed to 60. I'm trying to think when that actually happened. Probably around the PS3, Xbox 360 era, maybe is when it
I
turned to
think you're right.
60.
I think when the PS3 came out, like 2007, that's pretty much. I think you're right. That's pretty much when it became like the standard 59.95 kind of thing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, at least I
Uh,
remember. I remember. I very much remember around that era, all my games costing that price. You know.
yeah, because I remember my Sega Genesis days all the way to the first Xbox, and I think it was PS3 no 2 at the time. All games are 49.99, and then they made that jump. So is this going to be another jump for it? I did look.
And this isn't like a deluxe edition because usually
No.
the 2K NBA the 2K series they'll always sell a deluxe version at $10 more. You know what I mean? Or most people will do the deluxe version for $10 more or something. This is just the normal like straight up 2K the
Yes.
actual game. It's. Do you think it could be related to COVID-19 at all? It could
I
they could just be like
don't.
trying to recuperate.
I don't think so. But I have a couple issues of this. I mean, one, look. Okay, I'll start off with a defense. In the defense of a higher price, is that you know, one obviously inflation. Two, you're still
Hmm.
getting the most bang for your buck when it comes to video games versus other entertainment, right? playing,
Also
buying a
true.
game. For example, The Last of Us, I bought for $60. Last of Us Part 2. I'm 20 hours into the game, I still have another like 10 hours to go. That's 30 hours of entertainment for $60, which, compared to a movie or a television series, it's definitely,
Well, I mean,
very cost
the
effective.
NBA 2K series, the NBA 2K series has got so much replayability because it's a multiplayer game,
Yes.
So it has endless replay. I mean, 2K20 is still an incredibly popular game, which, while we're on the topic, super quick, if you have PlayStation Plus, NBA 2K20 is free this month.
Oh, okay.
I think starting tomorrow. So I'm definitely picking it up because I was about to buy it for PC, I think. But I'm glad because it's free now, as well as, well, funny enough, we spoke about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, I believe it was the previous, no, I think it came out, was it 2016? The 2016 Tomb Raider? All I know is it's one I don't own, so I'm happy.
Okay.
But there's so 2 AAA games free this month on PlayStation Plus, and I'm excited for both of them.
Nice.
Thought it would be good to point out.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of it, one, like I mentioned, like jumping up this price, making it more expensive, is that going to cause all these other next gen games going to be that price?
To do
And
the
then
same,
two,
yeah.
the thing is when it comes to sports games, people already complain about it being regular price because they're like, oh, this is the same game that we played last time. Obviously,
Yeah.
with some upgrades, it's not like
And
a
they
brand new
have
engine or whatever.
microtransactions. They make
Yeah.
a lot of money from microtransactions, which, like I said, you don't have to do, but it's one of those things where people do spend a buttload of money on sport games with microtransactions, and there's a lot of people who don't complain about it, and they love doing it. You know what I mean? I know Jack, he loves spending money on FIFA, bro. He loves it. He does, like, he's like, it sucks, but he like, you get back if you know what you're doing, you get your bang for your buck. I don't really like the system. I wouldn't do it, but so why would the PS5 and Xbox Series X version be $10 more than the PS4 version? Are they not
More
planning on doing
development? I don't know.
Is it like on a different? Is the because the Blu-ray disc costs more? Are they doing like a different? No,
I
are
think
they
so.
changing up the disc system?
No,
Yeah,
because
it's
you can
that.
buy
I don't know.
digitally. You can buy digitally,
Exactly.
so that doesn't.
You're right. So it's got nothing to do with it. Then
Yeah.
I'm genuinely confused. Genuinely confused. Like I don't think it's inflation. I mean, it could be, but it's like, then why would I forget who's the distributor for NBA 2K, but like, I mean, I know that there are bigger game companies, like they would have announced much sooner that they're upping game prices if it was inflation.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know. People who are listening or watching this, let us know what you think about this potential price jump. One, do you think it's fair, especially for a sports game? And two, do you think that's going to be the new norm? And what do you think about that? Because, yeah, I think there's just so many games right now, and they take a lot of time. It's like it's very easy, like myself, to basically waited till PS4 generation ended, and then bought it more cheap. I mean, not as cheap as I wanted it to be, but cheaper than normal. Bought, all these great games like Last of Us Remastered, Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, like all those games, minus Last of Us Part 2 because it's brand new, but all the rest of them were all super cheap, like, being able to wait, in video games. I don't know. I guess for me, like video games, if it's not the biggest, hottest new thing, I can wait,
Oh,
and buy a game
dude.
later. So
Honestly, that's sometimes the absolute best thing to do, because there's so many like AAA titles coming out. There are so many good games coming out. Maybe not nowadays, but literally, like, maybe not this year specifically, but okay, last year was an okay year, but the previous year was definitely a good year for video games. But there have been times where it's like you just don't have the money or time to play the games. Like, I didn't play The Witcher 3 the year it came out. I didn't have the time or money. I was busy doing other things. I was busy, like, I think I just moved back to LA. I was trying to work on all these things. So I picked up The Witcher 3 like two or three whole no, because The Witcher 3 was 2015. I think, yes, I picked it up like 2 or 3 whole years later at such a cheap price with all the DLC, everything included. For like, I think I got everything. I think I got the game for $15 and then all the DLC for an extra $5. And it was the best. Like, that's the best. $20 you get the full game and all the DLC. I mean, yeah, it's 3 years later, but the game's still a masterpiece. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's there's definitely a lot of winning in that, if you will. You know,
Yeah.
like if it wasn't for like if we didn't get the Fallen Order right away, I probably wouldn't have played it until this year, and like now it's on sale for half price. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you guys can chime in on that. Iron Man VR came out today. Dorian actually did a mini review on the YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out, based on kind of his playthrough, his review, and others that I saw. I think he liked it more than other people did. Other websites were talking about how like there's elements of fun in it, but overall there was a lot of issues with it. I think one of the main issues was like the loading time. Like you would have to kind of like be in the thick of the action, and then like you would have to stop, and they would have to load for a while, and then it would kind of interrupt the flow. Also, repetitive nature of it. But there's definitely elements of fun to it, just being able to fly around as Iron Man. I mean, it's for the PSVR, which technology wise, hardware wise, it's not the best. It's kind of outdated, especially in terms of comfortability. It's not, and controller wise too, it's a little outdated.
It's
I'm hoping.
crazy how outdated the PSVR is if you think about it. Like, look, I mean, when it launched, it was never meant to be high tier. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be like cost effective. They did great bundles with it. You don't have you don't have to have a computer. You can use your PlayStation. And honestly, like I remember the year it launched, I was very impressed with it. But literally 6 months later, it became obsolete almost. You know what I mean? Like almost like completely obsolete. At least in terms of like, well, mind you, once the Oculus Quest came out, it definitely became obsolete, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the graphics are still decent. I mean, they're not as good as any PC, like a beefed up PC game, but they're still more powerful than a Quest. It's a PS4.
Have you tried it, by the way?
Not Iron Man VR, but I've tried PSVR games. I played Trover Saves the Universe. I played Blood and Truth. I played some other stuff in there, and while I think the games are a lot of fun, I think the hardware itself is, once the setup is the opposite of Oculus Quest, which is the simplest thing. Like you can teach a child or an older person to put it
on,
to
hold
use
it, and go.
Where the PSVR is the opposite. It's like all this kind of stuff you get with the webcam and then this and that or whatever. And it's also not as comfortable.
I'm curious to see what. Well, I mean, personally, I'll have to argue with you there. I think it's way more comfortable than anything else I've ever worn or used before. I mean, the cables, no, obviously, but the actual headset, I don't have a screen attached to my face. It's just hovering there. I like that. I prefer the design. I'm kind of upset that they patented that design because it's a great design. Like the whole thing, you're basically wearing a crown and then the screen just rests there. I wish other people could use the same thing, but they can't because it's patented. I'm curious as to see what PSVR 2 will look like, or they're not going to release a PSVR 2. Yeah, they're not. I don't think that they will, because the actual headset itself, the hardware to the headset is actually pretty good. It's the issue of the hardware for the PlayStation 4. So as far as I know that they were planning on integrating the PSVR hardware. They were planning on integrating it into the PS5 and making it a lot easier, so you don't have that whole big clunky extra box. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can just plug it in and go. So. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm interested to see where that goes. But at the end of the day, for me, if you're playing a PSVR game, I think the most important thing is it fun? Because look, you're running it on a PlayStation. It's not going to be the most beautiful looking thing. All that matters is, are you having fun? I think that's the biggest thing. And I think I think that's what happened to Dorian. He had fun with it, man. The reason why Dorian speaks highly of it is because he had fun.
Yeah, it's also shorter, so it's not like super long, where like obviously it's a more repetitive game, so I think anything longer would actually be a detriment to it. So but yeah, that's out now. I don't know if it's worth buying a PSVR for, but I think if you have
What's
one,
the price?
it's probably worth checking it. I can't remember. I think it might be, let me check the price on that. But
if it's anything more than $40 and it's short, then that's kind of like a ripoff. Like
yeah,
if it's
but
a
remember
short game,
licensing.
Oh yeah.
40. Yeah, it's 40.
Yeah, I can live with that. I can live with 40. You know.
Yeah, that's
and
not
I'm sure
bad.
that there's got to be some kind of replayability in terms of, if you're flying around. All I would do is I would just put on some sweet music and I'll just fly around for 2 hours and do nothing and just pretend I'm Tony Stark, you know.
All right. Next up, just the Last of Us Part 2 playthrough update. I'm almost finished with the game. I'm definitely gonna finish it. Probably not today, but probably tomorrow. Definitely by Sunday for sure. And then I got to get into Ghost of Tsushima. Like I said, we'll have reviews and live streams of that. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, there's definitely some plot twists, and I see there's things that I know why people are upset, but at the same time, like just reading what those things are online is not the same as playing it. Playing it, it gives you an idea of why they chose to go those routes. So, like I said, I'm 20 hours into it. I'm at the end of chapter 7. I think there's 11 chapters total. So I think I have a good like 8-10 hours left. You haven't started playing it yet, have you?
No, I haven't picked it up yet. I'm going to be picking it up pretty soon, though. Well, I'm like right now, I'm actually kind of torn because I really want Ghost of Tsushima, and I know that that's the kind of game that I would enjoy more. Like, like I know for a fact that I will enjoy that game more. I love The Last of Us
because of the setting, or because it's a sandbox
gameplay.
game?
Purely because of the gameplay, like
because
the actual combat.
Oh, combat.
Doesn't even honestly, the game could have been linear. They could have put that. They could have put me on a tunnel going straight and nothing else, and I'd still play that game. It's purely because of the combat. Like I play The Last of Us because the story is amazing. The gameplay is also is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's not like I wouldn't usually go for that type of game personally, but I play it because I love the story. Love the story, and I love how like I love the suspense of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, like, so I'm kind of torn right now. I think, I don't know. If you guys get did you guys get any review codes?
We got limited amount, so.
No, I had a feeling, yeah.
But in terms of,
I don't know. Honestly, I'll see what you say, because you're gonna play Ghost of Tsushima at some point. So once you like, I'm gonna ask you
Monday at the latest.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you your opinion on it, because then I'm gonna probably end up spending my money either on The Last of Us 2, which yes, I'll get around to eventually, but currently I just know that I'll have more fun playing Ghost of Tsushima. Also, I'm about to start Control, which I'm super excited for.
Oh yeah,
because I get to play it with ray.
It's not that long.
I get to play with ray tracing.
It's like
oh.
12, 13 hours. It's not very long. I mean, Remedy games aren't super long.
Yeah, it was cheap because, like I said, I'm on the South African Epic Game Launcher, and full price. The game is $26 full price.
Yeah.
That's its full price, like not on sale. Like that's what it's listed at its full price, $26. So it's stupid for me not to buy it.
Game of my year, game of the year for me last year, Control. As far as Last of Us Part 2, one kind of criticism I have of it is that it's actually, and we'll talk about this, we're gonna have a spoilers review of me and Dorian next week, is that it's actually too story heavy. It's very like there's more of a balance in the first game where it was like, okay, you have
Do you
some
think
story
it's because of the pressure?
Action. Do
you think it's because of the pressure they were under?
No, I think it's honestly because they wanted to tell a story and they felt like the only way they could do it is to pack more. So like the cutscenes are a lot longer than in the first game, and they happen more often. Like there's like stretches of time where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put my controller down and watch this whole like.
So seeing as you're pretty much kind of close towards the end, I'm going to ask you a question in a spoiler-free kind of way. By the way, I don't mind. We can do a spoiler review together, even though I haven't played the game, because unfortunately the game has pretty much entirely been spoiled to me because I needed to see what the outrage was about. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think it's whatever. I think the outrage is whatever. Personally, mind you, I haven't experienced it, so I've seen a lot of people who raged quit at that moment. So we're not going to talk about the thing that happens because that would be a spoiler. But I don't even want to say that. Actually, I can kind of say this. There's a certain point in time in the game where you, Dennis, start playing as a new character. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about playing as that character?
I think it is interesting choice, and as I'm going along, because I'm still only, especially with that part, not fully done with that, is that I know why they made that choice. Now, Whether or not it's successful or not, I can't tell until the ending. But I know why they made that choice. So
Yeah.
I see where
when you do get to the end, I want to know what your opinion on the
yeah.
actual story ending is, because I know about the I know about the ending as well. Once again, unfortunately, everything was spoiled for me, but it's my own fault. I was doing the research. I'm very curious as to, because from what I could tell, the ending, it really varies depending on the person, on how they're affected by the choices made by the main character at the end, on how to um not resolve the ending. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
some people love it, some people hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd love
some
to see,
people are
once you
calling it
finish it, I'd love to see your
masterpiece.
take.
Some people are
Hmm.
review bombing it, So I will,
Yeah.
I will finish the game by the end of this weekend, and I'm going to shoot that spoiler review with Dorian. Next thing, smaller thing
Hold
is,
up, real quick before we get into this, because which, by the way, I'm very excited for the news we're about to talk about afterwards, because huge fan of the series. But before that, two small things that I didn't add to the email because it wasn't really worth it.
okay.
Cyberpunk 2077 is removing wall running as a function
Yeah, I
from
saw
its
that.
game. That's I'm assuming it's because of level design issues. They say it's because it affects the gameplay, but I would imagine that the beta testers, or just the testers in general, are like wall running to places where they shouldn't be, and it's just probably better for them to remove it entirely. And the game is going to be censored heavily in Japan. They said not heavily, but pretty much it's all cosmetic changes. They have to make a lot of cosmetic changes for the censorship in Japan. I just thought that would be worth bringing up real quick before we get into the next news.
If that's the case, then Last of Us Part 2 is definitely censored in Japan, because that game,
Oh yeah.
it crosses, it's a hard R. It's not like some games are light
I've seen the
R.
sex scene, Dennis. I've
It's a
seen the
hard R.
sex scene.
Sexy, and the violence.
Yeah.
The violence is brutal violence. More so than a lot of movies or television shows you've seen. So definitely not for kids. I wouldn't even
This next
younger
piece
kids.
of news, this next piece of news is fantastic news for me. It's also like a no-brainer, kind of, is that they wait, who was it that renewed the license? Microsoft renewed their they renewed their the trademark for Fable. But the way that they renewed their trademark, it implies that they're definitely going to be making another game. And I believe the studio surrounding it, they said that their next game is definitely being built for Xbox, which, I mean, if you're a fan of the Fable series, you know that when Fable moved to console, it was only on Xbox anyway. So that makes sense to me still. Like it's just always been that way. It'll probably be PC, Xbox only. It's been that way. I don't think it's going to change at any point in time. I have been desperately waiting for a fourth game. There was a fourth game, but we don't talk about the fourth game. It's not Fable 4. It's like its whole own co-op kind of thing. I don't remember it being successful. I remember the people loved the trailers and the announcement about it, but then it just fell off the face of the earth. So I would love a Fable 4. They did remake. They did. It's not remake. Not really. I guess remastered. They remastered the first Fable, which I was recently playing on Steam because it's one of my favorite games. But it's more like a HD texture update of the game. I would still love to see the first game made from the ground, like remade from the ground up, and they expand on some of the story ideas and expand on some of the game mechanics, which they definitely can do. Other than that, though, it's one of those things where Fable 1, 2, and 3, there was like a progression, if you will, in terms of the era. Fable 1 was magic and like you're using swords and shields and magic, and then Fable 2 was like, hey, now you can also it was like the Steam era, not the Steam era. It was like they were moving up. There was progression. By the time you were in Fable 3, you're using guns and stuff. You know what I mean? You're still using magic because it's Fable, but like there was a progression. You know what I mean? And well, yeah, Fable 3, you're straight up in like the Bronze era. You're straight up in the Bronze era, or the Steam era. Sorry. So I'm curious, are they going to stick with that? Are they going to keep pushing forward? Because like, what comes after the Bronze era? That's not a hypothetical. Genuinely, I don't know what comes after the Bronze era. I guess the Industrial Revolution, or like the Steam era. I think the Steam era was the Industrial Revolution, wasn't it?
Let me check.
So yeah, I don't know where they would go with it, but the more modern they go, the less I like the games. I kind of hope that they go way back into the history of
Iron Age, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
It's after
I
the
really
Bronze
I hope that
Age.
I hope that they, do you know what came after the Steam Age? Or like, I guess I guess the Iron Age is kind of like the Steam Age.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because at that point, like you're already like by Fable 3, you're already dealing with like monarchies and being like and like politics and things like that. And it was a nice game, but I wouldn't want to see them get any further in the like any more futuristic, if you will, because it's set in the world or the land of Albion. Uh, is it Albion? I could be wrong. And they have a god called Avo, the Avo god. But yeah, I really hope that they go
Albion
back.
is the fictional nation. I played the first
Yeah.
game, but I never played the second or third
The
game.
first one was the best by far. The first one was amazing. The second one was also pretty good, but the third one for me, it's the first one, the third one, and the second one in that order of how good they are. But I hope that they go back to the era of the first game. That's what I want, or even like a prequel to the first game. Like the further back in time they go, the better. Because like as fun as it was being able to use like weapons and stuff. It's just I don't know. That world just comes more to life in this like fantasy realm of like knights and wizards, and rather than kings and queens with knives and with like shotguns and stuff.
Yeah. All right. I think there was another piece of news that you had brought up about.
Yeah, it's a announcement. We're gonna know a lot more about this game in the future. The beta just started. Real quick, I tend to talk about things before saying what it is. So Ubisoft is doing their own battle royale. It's called Hyperscape. It actually genuinely, usually I would be pretty cynical and skeptical because everyone's trying to make a battle royale game. You know what I mean? And it's been that way for years. So I would usually be cynical and skeptical, but because they gave us gameplay, it looks fun. It looks really fun, and a lot of people who played the game says that the most fun they had playing the game was actually in the movement. The movement of the game is the most fun part. This like fast-paced movement. You get a double jump. You get like there are jump pads in the game that can take you up, launch you up higher. It has this kind of sci-fi futuristic setting. It's set in this less like urban it's got a very urban setting with like skyscrapers everywhere, tall buildings. There's no big open fields for you to get sniped in, you know what I mean? It's all about getting on top of buildings and having the height advantage. It looks like a lot of fun. Now what's worth talking about, Dennis, is like I think this game will be successful when it comes out. Will it stay successful? Because obviously like any battle royale game coming out, everyone's pushing for games as a service, you know what I mean? And I can already tell you right now, I mean, this is a bit beyond the topic, but I can tell you right now that the hype around Warzone is going to die out because people are sick and tired of 80 gig updates and and needing like 100 gigs free and like having to constantly delete stuff. Because the fact that Warzone hasn't got its own separate launcher, its own separate client is so frustrating. The fact that like you're getting a Warzone update, you're also getting a Modern Warfare update. It kills me, you know what I mean? Like I haven't played Warzone since the last update because I'm not gonna download another 80 gigs just for an update, just for like it's not worth it. So yeah, it's interesting because look, this game when it comes out, it's right now, I believe people are streaming it on Twitch, which actually while I'm talking about this, there are Twitch drops are enabled. So there are a list of streamers who are streaming the game right now on Twitch, and you can watch them on Twitch. And if you like when you're looking at streams, make sure you type in Twitch drops, and you could actually get a copy of the game to be able to beta test it as well. Only in certain regions. I'm not in one of those regions, so I can't. Otherwise, I'd be trying right now to play the game. But it does look like fun. I wish I could have a hands-on experience with it. The reason why I think it could do well is because they were at a certain point the battle royale genre was oversaturated. But now most of like the other battle royale games that came out died. Like Realm Royale is dead. Darwin Project's actually doing pretty good since it came to console, but there was Radical Heights. That was like a briefly lived thing. That's dead. Ring of Elysium is doing kind of okay on Steam, but they had to change it. Like Horizon Source was like this game that I enjoyed until I found out that I was only playing against bots, which is why I felt like a god in the game. But there's so many battle royales that have died out where it's like now we've got another big contender coming to the game, and they say that it can run very well on medium range PCs. Like they're not making it like an unplayable game, which is cool. It's going to be games as a service. I think it stands a fair chance, but it's just going to oversaturate the market more, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, look, Fortnite is the king. But then, Apex for a while was in the second spot. PUBG was in the second spot before Apex. Now Warzone, I think, is in the second spot of most played battle royale games. Now you have Valorant that recently came out that a lot of people are enjoying.
Valorant's not a battle royale though, but getting a lot of popularity.
Yeah, but it's
Valorant is literally just CS:GO, essentially, but with powers.
Yeah, but you're getting people more and more into these type of free to play games, FPS or third person shooters, and being where it's about microtransactions and buying season passes and whatnot, and so it's just hard to stand out in that field, whether it's battle royale or not. Just this kind of free to play shooter type games.
I'm looking at this gameplay again now, and the one thing that does make this game stand out is how fast paced the movement is, and how fast you move around the game itself. I haven't seen a battle royale be this fluid in terms of movement, like at all. I mean, Apex is pretty damn fluid because they've got the mechanics from Titanfall 2, like the movement mechanics, except for the wall running. But so Apex was like the only other game the Apex. I love the movement in Apex. I love running around in Apex and sliding around places and things like that. But this just looks like fun moving around. I see the fact that there's a double jump is handy because it's all about getting heights in these skyscrapers. I don't know if you can take fall damage in the game, but the fact that you have a double jump means you can jump out of a building, and right before landing, you can use your second jump to like negate the fall damage.
Yeah, I'm looking at the graphics right now. It definitely looks better than Valorant. I know Valorant purposely toned down the graphics to get smooth. This isn't like super, high-end graphics. Obviously, they still want to maintain the fluidity of it, but it definitely has a little more to it.
Valorant can run on like a low to mid-range PC easily. This, they say it's only like mid to high range, but like most people, if you're a PC gamer, you most likely have a mid-range PC. You know what I mean? If you're like taking it seriously, at least that is.
One thing people were talking about is this ecosystem, which is where when you die, you can like move around, but you can still, right, instead of just being like looking through the eyes of one of your teammates, you can actually fly around like a ghost, and you can
like
actually
a spectator mode kind of thing. Yeah.
But you can help out. You can tell your teammates, "Hey, they're over here." And, hey.
Well, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So it's a different take on death in these type of games. All right. You have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to talk about it because I feel like people will say, "How could you guys miss this huge chunk of news?" Which is. I guess some context. In the past 2 weeks, I think 2 or even longer, 2 or 3 weeks, there's been a lot of allegations coming out in the Twitch community and and just like the gaming industry. Well, not the gaming industry, but the gaming players and like the people who are content creators in the gaming scene and esport players and things like that. A lot of sexual assault allegations and things like that. A lot of people being canceled and banned, rightfully so, because like most of these people, like undeniable proof comes out, you know what I mean? And it's just this movement that got really, really big. And for the most part, I can tell that everyone that like lost their channels and livelihoods deserved it. That might be going a bit far, but it's from all the research I've done, I would have to say it's a good statement. But recently, I don't want to press it. I don't want to like say that by saying this because it could be completely unrelated. But because of it happening right now, people are leaning towards that thing, which is DrDisrespect, who is one of my favorite streamers. Genuinely, I love the guy. He's very entertaining to watch. I like the character he puts on. He got permabanned from Twitch, like completely permabanned. And then some of the weirdest things started happening that Twitch has never done before. If you get permabanned on Twitch, the subscriptions, they usually let the subscriptions run their course. You know, like you won't be able to subscribe the next month, but they'll let the subscriptions finish. You know what I mean? But people were getting their subscriptions refunded. They were getting emails saying your subscription to this channel has been refunded. They've been taking away emotes. There's even like I think it's not Giphy, but someone's actually like literally they're even taking down like DrDisrespect gifs, like the big on the big gift sites. I know there. So whether this is based around like no one wants to talk about this because it can be defamation of character, which is why I'm not going to say what I think it is, because I don't know what it is. Like I don't know at all what it is. There's a lot of rumors going around. I mean, there's even a clip going around which is where in his last stream, DrDisrespect, he actually checks his phone and is like, everyone says you can see he's visibly startled. He doesn't look startled for me, but there's definitely like a pause where he pauses. He's like kind of like an oh shit moment, puts his phone back in his pocket, he checks it again, and then he literally like in the last few seconds of his stream, he's like, we're gonna get through this. Don't worry, Champions Club. That's what he calls his like followers, by the way, Champions Club. Like, we'll get through this. And then he just like says fuck and ends his stream right there. Like he's pissed off, and then that's the last. And then he got banned, perma-banned. A lot of it. Some of his sponsors dropped him, and then did the opposite of that and actually put him back up again. Like people, like I think it's because the sponsors could have been worried. I don't know if they knew what was going on, but they dropped him. They dropped him as like as a spot. Some of his sponsors dropped him, and then they brought him back. But other sponsors have completely dropped him, like completely whatsoever. And then people who say that they know the reasoning behind why he got banned, they say that they don't feel comfortable talking about it because obviously, once again, if they're wrong, they can be sued for defamation of character and things like that. And or it's just a touchy subject that they don't want to talk about. There are a lot of theories around this. It could very much be a legal thing. There are so many obscure theories around it. Obviously, the one that I don't want to talk about, which is the timing. Timing is unfortunate in this case because for the past couple of weeks, a lot of people on Twitch have been getting banned and like have been getting banned for sexual assault or even worse. You know what I mean? Some people in the Smash scene have been caught dating underage people. Like two Smash players, the one younger guy came out and they were like, we were dating when I was 15 and he was like 22 or something, you know? And there's a lot of cases. So it's just an unfortunate timing thing. So we're not going to talk about that because that's the only correlation here is timing. In terms of sexual assault allegations, the only reason why that could be true is because of timing. That's the only, and that's not even like proof to talk about. It could be numerous other things. With Mixer having shut down, there was a popular rumor going around that DrDisrespect, Ninja, and Shroud were going to make start their own streaming service. And this is based around the fact that a couple weeks ago, a Twitter account showed up called Brine, which is like they said they're like a new up and coming streaming thing, and the only streamers they were following on Twitter was Ninja, DrDisrespect, and Shroud. Now, as cool of a theory as I think that is, I think that's just pure coincidence. You know what I mean? I don't think that they were planning to especially not recently. Like I don't think they were planning to make their own streaming service. Considering DrDisrespect had just like literally just recently signed like a multi-million-dollar deal to stream exclusively on Twitch. Another popular theory is that because Mixer is shutting down, people think that Twitch feels like they just wasted millions of dollars on DrDisrespect because he's got nowhere else to go. Like it's not like he can leave to go to Mixer like everybody else did. So everyone's thinking, shit, Twitch is just trying to get their money back, or like they're trying to like not have to pay him his money or something. That is a possibility as well. The one thing that I know for a fact is that it is a huge legal, a lot of legal things are involved in this. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to know for a very, very long time. I think we might not ever find out. If DrDisrespect never comes back to streaming, then we're never going to find out what happened because Twitch hasn't said anything. They were supposed to release a statement, but they never did. There are so many crazy theories going around. Some people were like, oh, well, there was like the cheating scandal. Another popular theory is because he did cheat on his wife, which I believe him and his wife are cool now. He cheated on his wife at, I think it was TwitchCon last year with another streamer who is unnamed. And then they said that Twitch ended up settling some people are saying that like him hooking up with this girl, it could have been unconsensual or something, and then Twitch paid the girl to not make a case.
What?
Once again, these are all theories. These are all like based. I don't have like
I'm just trying to
these
think
aren't
of
even
why
my
Twitch would
theories.
involve themselves in something like that.
Because they make so much money off of Dr. Disrespect, off of like subscriptions and donations. Uh, so it's one of those things where people. Someone said, once again, this is all like these are just theories. Someone said that the girl wasn't happy with the amount of money she was given, and she was taking legal action, which is then what had to make them sever their ties or whatever. But the most, I'd say, like ominous thing about this is that someone who definitely knows what the reason is, he came out and said that it's like it's it's much bigger than just Twitch. Like it's his whole career is on the line for whatever happened. It's his whole career that's come on the line. You know what I mean? Uh, like this is like I think like a former Twitch employee. She came out herself. I think she may have deleted the tweet by now, if I could be mistaken. But she came out herself and said that I know what it is, and this isn't just him being done on Twitch. This is him being his whole career being over, being done for what could for the reason that could be happening. I think like but his wife put out a statement on Instagram saying that I said like thank you so much for the support champions club, we appreciate it, and like I'm all there like so she's obviously supporting him. So I don't think it's sexual assault, because who would support their spouse if there's like proof that your spouse has sexually assaulted people? So I don't think it's that. It could honestly like this is what I think it is, and I could be very wrong. If it was going to be anything, I think it would be something like fraud, or like it's got to have something to do with money. You know what I mean? I don't know. Mind you, again, there's also like Dr. Disrespect. Recently, people were like, there was a whole meme that started around it where Dr. Disrespect started like, I don't know if he actually believed it or not, but he was like very much on the whole 5G towers are giving us COVID-19 bandwagon.
I hope
Yeah, and
that's his
he bought
character.
himself.
I hope that is character.
I hope it's his character, yeah, and not him. And he actually bought these rocks that are like supposed to like anti like
it's got to be.
so
it's got to
yeah.
be for. It's got to be for his
Could be,
character.
it has to be his character, yeah. But so like I feel like we had to bring that up because people they're like, how could you miss those huge news that happened this week? Which it is huge, but there's such little bad English, but there's so little that we know, that we don't know what's truly happening here. That's the real situation is we don't know what's happened here. We don't know what's happened to Dr. Disrespect. We just know it's big. Like whatever it is, it's big. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the only thing I felt like we should bring up before
All right.
before
I think
ending this.
yeah, we're wrapping up. Obviously, like I said, I'm playing Last of Us Part 2, going to be finished in the next day or two. Then I'm moving to Ghost of Tsushima. What about you? What have you been playing?
Oh, Dennis, I'm 4 years late to the game, but I actually I want to stream the game on the channel. Shadow Warrior 2, which I love the first Shadow Warrior, not the original back before I think it was from the 90s or 80s, was an arcade game, but they turned it into like a first person like melee shooter. Like your main weapon is a katana. You basically play this like caricature of this badass like Chinese American action star, except he's got that like personality, but he's not. He's like a mercenary. And dude, I love this guy. His name is Wang, and like the dude, he says the cheesiest like. They're known for bad jokes, but you love the bad jokes. Like the comedy is so like
Duke Nukem.
It's like one step above Duke Nukem. You know what I mean? It's like just maybe slightly more highbrow than Duke Nukem. But I love the comedy, and I'd love to stream. Which, speaking of, they actually just teased the teaser trailer on Instagram, because it's been 4 years, so they're making the third game now, and they literally posted on Instagram teaser trailer in the process of being made.
Oh, it's a Devolver game, just like
yeah, I love Devolver.
Pedro.
Devolver is an amazing studio. And they have great soundtracks as well. I love listening to their music. Yeah, I'm excited about that, to see the teaser trailer, which I think they're going to be showing it soon, like next week. But I've been playing the crap out of that game, Dennis. It is such a fun game. I can't believe I'm 4 years late to this. It's got so many weapons. It's super fast paced, and it's just fun. And it's co-op. The second one is multiplayer. I didn't even know that. Like, I wish I jumped on this much sooner. So I've been loving that.
Currently $9.99 on Steam, at least here in America.
Yeah, no, it's dude. Yeah, well, that's actually why I picked it up because it was $9.99. The first one is also $9.99, and it's like, it's just I love the world that it's set in because it's kind of set in this world where it's like it's the current era. It's like 2020, if you will, but like you know, like kung fu movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like in general, like the setting of like Little China. It's like imagine if that was in 2020. Like the dude lives in this area that's kind of like this. It's like very like kung fu. It's like you see all these like relics and statues, but then you'll also see like a laundromat. You know what I mean? Or like it's these weird things, man. I absolutely love the game. It's out there. I'm gonna start Control soon, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of mainly Shadow Warrior 2 just because it's addictive. A lot of Valorant because I'm taking Valorant very seriously. I'm playing ranked and I'm getting like I'm actually genuinely I'm forcing myself to play the game because I want to get good at it and I want to take it seriously competitively because I'm loving the game, playing a lot of Valorant, playing Fortnite because it's fun. You know, I like for me Fortnite became a very casual game. Like since a year ago. It's big like I play it because for me it's like a casual action game, you know what I mean? I've been enjoying that. Which while we're at it, they just announced that for the 4th of July they are bringing Captain America to the game, so you can buy Captain America in the store and play as him for the 4th of July. Yeah, is there anything I missed? Fortnite. Oh yeah, I've been playing Apex. I was gonna join Dorian in streaming some Apex, but it's difficult with the time zones.
Yeah.
Oh, Borderlands 3. I've also been playing Borderlands 3 because it was on sale on the Epic Games Store. Which, by the way, one of my favorite games. They actually this is like not too newsworthy to talk about, but because Epic Games does free games, right? And the next free game was gonna be Conan Exiles, but then they pulled it. They said because I think they weren't ready for the launch, so they delayed the launch of the game. Or there was some sort of delay, so they removed it as a free game, and they've replaced it with Killing Floor 2, which is a great game. Honestly, if you have a PC and you have the Epic Games launcher, which it's free, why don't you have it? Get Killing Floor 2 when it becomes free. I think it's on like the 14th or something. It becomes free, so it's still like a while to go. But man, it's a good game. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I see that Killing Floor 2 coming soon, July 9th to the 16th.
Lifeless, oh, that's even sooner than I thought. Yeah.
Lifeless Planet on July 9th to July 16th. Right now, the free game is Hue. HUE.
Which is a nice little indie game. It's a very small game. Very, very small game, but it's a nice indie game. It tells like a nice little story, you know? I finished Battle for Bikini Bottom, Rehydrated. Loved it. Hated the voice acting. Loved the game. But yeah, no, that was a good buy. I was very happy with that as a buy. And yeah, no, I guess for the most part, Valorant and Shadow Warrior 2.
Nice. All right, I guess that's it for us here on this week's Collider Games podcast. Let us know what you think about all the topics. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki, and you guys can find me on Twitch at josh_toki. Haven't streamed in a very long time, but you guys, starting probably around this time next week, I should hopefully be streaming full time.
Cool. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also subscribe to the Collider podcast feed, that's Collider Factory feed for this show every single week. Also on the YouTube channel, we have reviews. We just put up the Iron Man VR. We'll have The Last of Us Part 2 spoilers review next week. Also, we'll have live streams of Ghost of Tsushima once we're able to do that, and a bunch of other stuff. So until next time, see you guys later.
See you later.